Hello, Diggs Mac here, and today I'm going to talk about the new adversary mode in GTA Online called Sumo. Now, it's a new game mode in GTA Online, and it's probably the simplest adversary mode that Rockstar has ever added. Basically, you're on, say, an island or on a tower, and you just gotta knock the other team off. Now, it can be played with up to 4 teams, and most maps are 4 or 8 max players. So I think 2 of the maps are 4 players and 2 of the maps are 8 players. I may be wrong, maybe only one map's 4 players. But anyways, you got to knock people off of the map, and if you fall off, you explode, and you gotta, it's basically an LTS, but sort of vehicles. It's basically a demolition derby if you've ever played some of those types game modes, but it's a little bit better, I guess, because it's actually Rockstar supported. It's not just somebody's created in the creator, which is very nice. And I was actually kind of going into this game mode whenever they announced it, whenever they put it out there. I was kind of going in with pretty low expectations. I wasn't expecting much, but actually I enjoyed it. I didn't have really that many problems with this game mode. And while it may not be the absolute greatest game mode ever, it's pretty good. And I still, did have quite a bit of fun with it. And that's actually kind of nice for a game mode in GTA Online, especially in adversary mode, since there are so many. Something that can still just be enjoyable to play is very, very nice. Now, there are 4 maps for this game mode. One is on Maze Bank, which is probably my least favorite. It's just way too small in my opinion. That one is only 4 players. Then there's one at the university. If you ever played Drop Zone, the one map, it's right next to the one map where you're in like that track area. Then there's also one on an island near Paleto Bay at the top of the map. Then there's another one at the motel in, I think, Holwick is the area. So personally, I think my favorite map would be the island one, because not only is it the biggest, it's also 8 players, and that's very fun, especially with 4 teams. That one's probably the best for 4 teams. And then my other one that I really like is probably the one at the university, then the one at the Holwick Hotel, then finally would be Maze Bank. Maze Bank is probably my least favorite just because it's just way too small, the rounds go way too quick, and it's just, you can't really do much on it, unless you're in compacts. Maybe it's a little bit easier, but still, it's just like, there's not enough room. It's basically just run, at each other. There's no actual, really strategy with it, because you can't really move around too much, especially with, with 4 players. You can't really do that, and maybe for 1v1s, I guess. But other than that, I don't really enjoy the map of the Maze Bank. And that is one problem with the game mode, is that the maps aren't really that amazing. Like, sure, the game mode itself is kind of fun, but the maps are decent at times, but honestly, they're on one hand kind of too small, but I would like a little bit more maps. I'm sure there are a lot of areas in GTA Online. If you go around, would say in the creator, or just look around and go, that would be a good rooftop or a nice island or something like that to actually place one of these maps. I would really like that. One I could even see work is the stadium. That would be kind of interesting. And I feel like that would be kind of cool map, but there are other maps as well that would be very nice. And I just feel like if they went through and maybe added more maps, that would be also nice. But I feel like one problem is the maps are a little bit too small. I would like more players and just more options for the maps. I do like some of the more close range maps, but overall, I think bigger maps would be better. Especially because this game mode feels very similar to Penned In. If you've ever played Penned In the free mode event, it's very similar to that. You have to knock people off the map, and it's even more like Penned In after you wait the 3 minutes. And if there's at least 2 teams after 3 minutes, which I think is the time, it will actually put a sort of a smaller barrier, like it'll put like that yellow circle that's in Penned in the middle of the map, or not necessarily the middle of the map always, but it will put like on a section of the map, and if you don't get there in a few seconds, then you're gonna die. And if once you do get there, if you just get half your car out, you're just gonna instantly explode. So that's kind of interesting, and I do like it. And also the map, or the circle, gets smaller, so you're kind of fighting for this control, but you're also trying to knock them out. It's very, very fun, especially once it gets there. I would like to see maybe a Penned In sort of adversary mode itself, though. we have seen sort of these free mode events be adopted into adversary modes with a few changes. We've seen Beast versus Slasher, and that is basically Hunt the Beast, but a smaller version, a little bit more competitive version, and one that's a little bit has a little bit more control. And then you also have King of the Castle, which is basically the drop zone adversary mode. And there probably are a few other ones as well that are very similar. And I feel like that's kind of how they're kind of designing their new adversary modes, is they're taking these modes that are already existing and they're just putting them into this game mode. And I really do like that, how that sort of plays out. But at the same time, I would like to see maybe like an actual race or something like that. You know, sort of like how Penned In is. And I kind of want that because, one, I haven't really played Penned In much, just because not really anybody seems to go over there. So, like, Penned In will start in free mode. I don't really see anybody else play it. I've only played it really, like, once and actually, like, had a fun session with it. You know, actually, like, good, with a good amount of players and stuff like that. I haven't really seen that often. And I would really like to see, like, an actual, like, you know, with the circle moving, and you have to sort of actually play Penned In. Now, maybe that'd be too much like the free mode event, but still, there could be, you know, better maps, even if they're bigger maps. You know, I feel like that would be very, very nice, and with more players. Now, 16 players on any of the maps that we have currently, that would maybe not work, but 16 players on different maps, maybe bigger maps, I think that could actually work. Let's say 16 players on the aircraft carrier, 16 players on the Maze Bank Stadium, you know, Maze Bank Arena. Stuff like that. I feel like that could actually work, and I would really like to see that added to the game. And finally, one thing I want to talk about is that this game mode isn't really that innovative. Don't go, you know, into this game mode thinking, oh, this is going to be the super innovative game mode. You know, it's never been done before in GTA Online, because it has. You know, it has completely been done before. And people have already made jobs pretty much exactly like this in GTA Online. Maybe not LTSs per se, but, you know, they have made, you know, game modes like this. And that is just one thing that you have to keep in mind with this. You know, there have already been sort of these, you know, arenas built in GTA Online where you just hit each other off of a building or something like that. That idea has already been done, and it's not necessarily anything new. It's just still nice to see Rockstar putting in this adversary mode and actually caring about this kind of game mode that wasn't really ever built, you know, perfect, I guess. You know, if Rockstar puts in a game mode, they could make it so much better than any other player could, you know, because they have the assets to actually make it so that whenever you get knocked off, you explode. You can actually have the, whenever the time limit goes down, if people are still alive, they can go into a smaller area and a smaller circle that, you know, goes smaller over time. So overall, I feel like this game mode's a lot of fun. If you haven't played it, I would suggest doing it. And I don't feel like anybody will go like, oh, this is the best game mode ever, you know, 10 out of 10, perfect, you know, I'm going to be playing this forever, and this is what I do in GTA Online. I don't think that's going to be happening. It's not like the most innovative game mode. It's not the most long-lasting game mode. It is worth your trying, and it's not necessarily a bad game mode. You know, it's a lot of fun, and I really do like it, but it does have a few shortcomings with its longevity, I feel. But other than that, it's a very fun game mode, and if you haven't checked it out, I would suggest doing so. Anyways, let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. Hope you enjoyed. Feedback is always appreciated. I'll see you guys in the next video.